Well, recently, the American Principles Project released a report condemning the House's apparent attack on faith-based institutions of higher education. It's true. Among the key findings of the report is that almost 70% of the penalties imposed by the Office of Enforcement have been against Christian institutions and career colleges, even though these schools represent less than 10% of all college kids in America. Something's up, right? Other discoveries are that the White House issued record fines on two of the nation's most prominent Christian universities, Grand Canyon University in Arizona at $37.7 million and Liberty University at $14 million. No doubt that actions taken by the Biden-Harris administration constitute a destructive brand of woke authoritarianism. Here will be to discuss this further is a campus reform higher education fellow and professor of political science at Suffolk Community College in New York, Nicholas Giordano. Professor, nice to see you. Look, I mean, if 70% of the fines are going to 10% of the schools, I'm no mathematician, but it seems out of whack. Seems that ratio just isn't right. What do you make of it?
Well, it certainly isn't right. And at the Leadership Institute's campus reform, you also have to look at the size of the fine. So Christian universities are being penalized and fined approximately $815,000 on average, whereas secular institutions are being fined at approximately $228,000 on average. So you're seeing fines that are 3 times higher against Christian institutions than the public secular institutions. And listen, at Campus Reform, we're documenting and reporting that on the war on Christians, that this administration has unleashed on the American people. And it's an affront to everything that we stand for as a nation, the idea of religious liberty that so many from around the world have come here for. This administration is now making a mockery of it and giving a license to discriminate. But the intention is clear, because Secretary of Education Miguel Cardona has publicly stated that he'd like to see these institutions shut down, that he doesn't want them to exist, that they go against the woke leftist ideology that they want to push on a student body and brainwash them with. It goes far beyond just the educational institutions, though, and I think this is what every American needs to be concerned about. It goes beyond the Department of Education, because we saw with the FBI when they released the anti-Catholic Richmond product that stated that Catholics are potentially domestic violent extremists, all because they believe in 2 genders, because they may be pro-life, because they may go against the idea of the leftist ideology and support something like the traditional nuclear family. So it's not just about education. It's about where we are as a society and who we are as the American people. If you could destroy faith within our country, it's the state that is the highest authority. The state is the highest entity, and that's what the Biden administration wants.
Sure. You know, you made me think about a brand new book from Kevin Roberts at the Heritage Foundation. Nails every one of these points. If you guys need a new book to read, I'm telling you, this is the one you want. Kevin Roberts talks about the destruction of the American family. And again, this is all by design, Professor. Undermine the family. Undermine the foundational principles of America, undermine all of these things, and you can usher in a golden age of socialism or whatever it is I think they can deliver for us. But it's a false promise. I mean, look around. It never works. And attacking people of faith generally backfires over time, doesn't it?
Yeah, it ultimately does, because faith will always prevail over the state apparatus. But the problem that we see today is the administration is dumping so many tax dollars into leftist ideology that's going to these university systems. At Campus Reform, we've been reporting, $50,000 on studying white supremacist extremists. You have $4.5 million going to equity centers at LSU, $1 million going to redesign biology classes so that they go beyond the idea that there's 2 genders, male and female out there, and you're born with these genders. So we see this heavy amount of taxpayer dollars being used to try and shift the mindset of the American people. Now, hopefully the American people begin to stand up and push back. It is our responsibility. But I also think that Congress needs to quickly investigate this, and Congress needs to penalize the Department of Education itself for abusing its powers.
The dishonesty, Professor, and I want to dig into that a little bit. You talk about white supremacy and all of this nonsense. White supremacy, does it exist in America? A little tiny bit. I'm going to go back to the late 1990s, early 2000s. I was working for another network and was asked to go dig into the Ku Klux Klan in Ohio, which I did. And so I went to the now completely discredited Southern Poverty Law Center, right? Completely discredited organization, but these universities on the left will still cite them as being some sort of an expert on hate groups in America. But the truth is, in the year 2000, they couldn't find 10,000 members of the Ku Klux Klan in America. Couldn't find 10,000 in all these little splinter groups. And you're trying to tell me, or they're trying to tell us, or they're trying to tell our kids that are in college, oh my God, white supremacy has erupted. It's bloomed like never before. That is complete hogwash, isn't it?
It is. And if you look in the 1920s, we were a country of 129 million people. There were 4 million members of the Ku Klux Klan. Many of these members served in high-level positions like judges, lawyers, politicians, police chiefs. Today, as of today, the estimates are between 4,000 to 6,500 in a country of 350 million people. We are the most open and tolerant society that has ever existed, and we figured out a way to make it work.
You're exactly right. I want to circle that. America is the most diverse major country in the world. Look at China. How diverse are they? Look at India. How diverse are they? Or Vietnam, or any of the other countries that have over 100 million people. America has 350 million people from all corners of the earth. More languages, more religions, more great food. I'm not going to lie to you. I like it a lot. We are a diverse nation, Professor. We should be proud of it, not tearing ourselves down.
I don't know. Italy has pretty good food, too. So, we have to bring that up. We have to give them the credit where it's due. But when we look at this, I mean, let's be honest. Christianity, we are a Judeo-Christian society. It doesn't mean that we impose our religious beliefs on everyone else. But the idea is that you don't target people for religious beliefs. And that's exactly what the Biden administration is doing. They are cutting off financial aid to these students at these institutions to try and bankrupt them and close them down. And that's why campus reform is highlighting this for the American people.
And we appreciate everything that campus reform is doing. We appreciate what you're doing, Professor. Look, it's important work. And Grand Canyon University and Liberty should not be getting punished because they're institutions of faith. I'll give you the last word.
And I say everyone should also view this through the perspective of what we witnessed on the Ivy League campuses, where you have Jewish students that are being openly targeted and assaulted and harassed. And where's the Department of Education's Office of Enforcement on those college campuses? Where are the fines being levied on those college campuses? You don't see it, and it's because this administration doesn't care.
That's because they get a pass. That's exactly right. Professor, greatly appreciate you being here as always, my friend. We'll talk again soon.
Thank you for having me.